points is not true. For example, that you cannot do an abortion. That's the most like controversial thing to talk about, because like you cannot kill a baby, but it's a fetus. When it's a fetus, it's not really a human being. And then one time I saw this is like a guy showing this a picture of a fetus and asked him, do you think this is a baby? And then he said, yeah, it's a baby. It's a human baby, but like actually that fetus is a dolphin.
Oh.
So I think that for us, like, you know, being raped or like any sexual assaultment and stuff, I think it should be stopped, and it's fair to have abortions to like, you know, to protect ourselves, because like we can lose our life when we're delivering the baby.
Yeah, or just even there could be complications along the way. And I think there's been quite a few news stories. Now, I do think that we should be a little bit, for example, I think the situation with rape and other controversial aspects of, or incest, it's a minority in terms of abortions. And usually abortions are mothers already, and they're making a decision that, hey, I cannot raise another kid, which is sad in itself, that we have a society that people are saying, hey, I can't have another kid because financially that's going to ruin me. And it's going to hurt my own kids, right? So mothers...
And I do believe that women are entitled to enjoy their rights or to claim their rights to their own bodily politics. I think fetus or not fetus, babies or not, I think all mothers or mothers-to-be have the right to make their own choice.
My body, my choice.
Yes.
It is interesting, though. When do you stop, or do you not ever have... So the whole partial birth abortion thing is probably totally made up by the Republican Party, that you can literally do an abortion when the baby is halfway out, right? But
no,
that's a kind of a ridiculous point that I don't know if there's really any evidence that ever happens. But I can't remember if Taiwan, if it's at 20 weeks, 18 weeks. Different countries, different states have different rules.
I don't know though.
Because it's like at 20 weeks, I don't think any fetuses survive, or any of the unborn children. But I think they've been able to have it survive at 24 weeks. And like 30 weeks, yeah, you can do quite a bit of work with pregnancy.
I have no idea whatsoever.
Same.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
They've gotten better and better at trying to save these super premature children. And my dad was a preemie.
Okay.
But it's, yeah, so when do you say, hey, like, because it's hard, it happens fast. Having been a father, all of a sudden you realize, by the way, oh, it was an accident, baby. What a beautiful accident.
Okay.
But so all of a sudden you are into it quicker than you realize. So some people make an argument like, if you cut it off at 8 weeks, you might not even know until a month after.
True.
And then making plans, and then things can come up. It's
yeah. Before you get to practice on a pad, you're a father already.
But I do know that there's a policy now that pregnant mothers, there's a certain allowance that they get to take taxis around.
In Taiwan?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, yeah. I think so.
My wife did not benefit from that, but I know that she was taking Uber rides to work since Owen was a big kid. Owen was like 4,286 grams. He was enormous. So if you have 100 babies,
that's big.
He's about as big as it can get. Yeah.
That's big. 4,000 something.
Yeah, I think even now so we took him on an airplane when he was 18 months old, and the flight attendants, there's a rule that any child who's 2 years or older needs to sit in his own seat or her own seat. And they kept on, flight attendants would say, hey, how old is this kid? Does he need to be? And he's like 18 months old, but
they couldn't believe it.
They couldn't believe it. So he's always been pretty big. I think he's not top 1% anymore in terms of size, but yeah, so he was pretty big. And so with him, Sophie, I think, was taking an Uber since like, I think 7 months into pregnancy.
A regular newborn weighs around 2,600. Yeah, that's how big he was.
Well, it was funny. I think that the doctor, even though we have really good medical technology, there's a lot of plus or minus.
Yep.
So when he was going to come out, the doctor said, okay, about 3,800 plus or minus 500. So 3,800 plus or minus 500, right? So it could be as small as 3,300, could be as big as 4,300. And he was supposed to come out, I think, on July 6th. And we ended up having him on June 28th. So he was like a week plus early. Yeah, I mean, if he would have stayed in there, I don't know if he would have got to 5,000. But so the funny thing is that the doctor said plus or minus, but he was on the plus size. So he was as big as possible for what they were predicting. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really interesting.
He must have had some good intake
And genes.
through the mother.
Yeah.
Nutritions and genes, because you're tall.
Yeah, I don't know that. I think I was not a huge baby. So the story of my life was that my family was a little bit worried that I was going to be mentally deficient or slow, something like that. They would say retarded when I was a kid, because I had the umbilical cord.
Oh, right, around your neck when you were born.
My sister too.
Oh, hopefully your sister's okay.
Yeah, she's okay.
Yeah. Usually, now you get oxygen and everything's fine. But if it happens for a long time, it could be a problem.
True.
And anyways, I think I didn't come out as really, really big. My brother, I think, was pretty big. And so, but my wife and my mother-in-law, they both had big children.
Okay.
So my own wife, when she was a little one, was huge. And I think even her sister was little sister, because she doesn't have an older sister. So her sister, who's younger than her, was even bigger.
So it's in the family.
So I think it's in the Jiang family. I don't credit that to the Deming genes. I credit to the Jiang genes. Yeah.
How do you get these informations?
Well, the funny thing is if you think I'm educated, you should talk to my wife. Yeah. And so Christine, if you ever become a parent, and if you have the kid yourself rather than adopt, it's amazing how much you learn. So if you're talking about kids, you can tell, and Alvin knows this because he has a kid.
Oh, really?
If you talk to anybody, within 5 or 10 seconds, you know whether they have had a child or not. Because if they don't have a child, they reveal their ignorance so fast. And it's not.
True.
It's not anything wrong with this person. It's just you go through the pregnancy process. The kid comes out.
Yeah.
Dealing with kids,
And you're 1 foot in another world.
Yeah.
So, for example, ready? Let's talk about Taifeng Jia. Yeah. You probably love Taifeng Jia.
No,
yeah.
I don't.
Okay, well.
Or longer breaks, like summer break or winter break.
So if someone says, "Oh, are you excited about your summer break?" You're not a parent.
No. And the first piece of information we exchange would be you found the camp yet? Yeah, or you found the summer activity yet? Okay, did you sign up for anything? Okay, on behalf of your child.
So before I became a parent, Taifeng Jia were great, because I would use that time to get caught up on school or rest, yeah.
Right.
Or if I had papers to grade, things like that. And it was like free day. But as a parent, it's no longer a free day. It's
nursing time.
Yeah. And so, or I think that, what's the best way to say? There's survival mechanisms that you have as a parent. For example, if someone says, well, what did you do with the kid on the plane? And you'd say, well, I let them watch as much TV as they wanted to.
Yeah.
And a real parent would go, yep, that's what you do. But someone who doesn't know would say, oh, isn't that much screen
You're
time?
not supposed to do that.
You're a bad parent.
Yeah. You might get bad parent vibes. I don't know. But anyways, so the idea with a plane is that this is a small container or a big container, but it's small because there's so many people on it. And you're going to do everything you can to make sure that this kid doesn't drive the whole plane nuts. So your screen time rules don't matter on a plane. They just don't. Because at this moment, you can focus on screen time once you get off the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's things like it's very easy, and it's very easy to connect with people who have had kids. And so now I find myself connecting.
I don't know. What do you mean by that? Connecting with people? You mean connecting with other parents?
Yeah, other people have had kids.
Kind of like empathy.
Yeah, empathy for sure. That's a good word to use. Yeah, and all of a sudden, like you have things to talk about. So, okay, now there are really old people that annoy me. So, for example, Owen, when little ones are basically, have you ever read the Song of Fire and Ice? A Song of Fire and Ice. Game of Thrones.
Are we going there for analogies?
Summer
Little
of
babies
69.
are so hot. Yeah. So the idea is that people are always worried about babies freezing. Babies could be out in weather like this in a diaper if they're 3-4 months old. They are burning. And so you have grandmas going, your kid's not wearing enough clothes.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if I put on clothes, this kid is going to be sweating bullets and then they're going to start having heat rash. And so sometimes it can get annoying when people are trying to give you advice. Sometimes maybe they're trying to be nice.
Right.
I've had that happen a couple times, and that's a little bit like, all right,
Yeah.
whatever. Maybe it's like they're trying to express that they care. That's, yeah. But so, for example, my alma mater, they came to Shisung University to visit us, and there was 2 professors from SVSU there. That was my university's name.
Canada?
It's in the United States, yeah.
Oh.
I'm basically Canadian, though. I think I'm Canadian light.
Wait, really?
Because where I'm from in Michigan, there's actually parts of Canada that are lower.
Yeah.
And some of our language usages are the same. And I mean, that's the closest place. So if you want to leave Michigan to go to another place, Canada is closer than any other state.
So do you learn French?
I do not. Yeah, I'm outside of the there is quite a bit of a what's the best way to say? So in Taiwan, I would say if people are learning a foreign language, English is the first choice and Japanese is the second choice usually.
No.
English is not even a choice. It's compulsory.
Yeah. What do you think, Christina?
So in my high school, I had to learn a new language, either Japanese, Korean, or Germany.
Or German. Okay.
I chose Japanese because it's most like the easiest for me.
Yeah, but like wouldn't you say that English is the most common foreign language for someone to know in Taiwan? I mean, you got it.
It's like it's a universal English.
But it's still a foreign language.
It's not a choice.
Okay.
It's part of the universal curriculum.
Well, in the United States, the country that is really bad at learning foreign languages.
Yep.
Even though we have a lot of bilingual, multilingual people because we have so many immigrants and those immigrant communities. But, okay, so the most common foreign language to choose is Spanish.
Yep. Yeah. Yes.
And
yes.
then the classier version is French. So if you meet a student that is learning French,
Espanol.
so Spanish is the most common option because that's the most common second language.
The biggest immigrant population,
Yeah.
and then the second biggest, the second best popular language among global business people.
I mean, that's a huge advantage. I mean, people don't think about it, but really, South of the United States, other than Brazil, all the way down through the Americas, it's all Spanish speakers.
Yeah, because like we have San Diego, San Jose, San Nicolas. It's from San, and then it's like it's Spanish.
Mm.
Yep.
You got it. Yeah, you know more than me. And there's actually
I don't.
Well, in terms of you in California, you could probably get around with just Spanish if you're in the right communities.
Also, and like Chinese because there's a lot of Chinese immigrating to California.
Yeah. Well, California is I think it's something like 60% of
Chinese.
ethnic Chinese live in California.
Yep.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so,
I didn't know that.
3 out of 5, and then a lot of them are in New York. And where I'm from, you have every town has like the Chinese restaurant, but anyways, a lot of people they'll choose French as their language, but I don't think it really has anything to do with Canada. And I don't know anyone learning Chinese, and if they do, it's always they kind of take a semester and they're like ni hao ma. that's as far as they get. So I don't. I've
just
never,
some survival terms, and then
that's it. Yeah. I've actually thought about going back to the United States someday and trying to teach Chinese.
I think I'm going to LA next year, maybe. I want to revisit Santa Monica again, but like I do want to go back and then major in Chinese, so I can be the best.
Yeah, you'd have a lot of advantages as a Chinese teacher. I personally think I like it when the teacher can speak English, especially when they're very early on.
Of course.
I mean, if you have someone who's really serious, right? But there's big advantages because you know English, so you know what they're going to struggle with, and you can kind of see logically.
Sure. You've been there, okay, and you know, okay, the nooks and corners. Yeah.
Yeah, so go for it. But yeah, I think it's starting to get bigger in terms of people learning Chinese. But actually, I think actually, was it 2014, 2015? The numbers of Chinese learners has dropped again because it's a useless language.
As a licensed Mandarin teacher,
It's
I
hard.
have to say.
You're licensed.
Oh, yes.
Oh, really?
Okay, I got the certificate.
My wife too, yeah.
Yeah.
crazy.
Oh, really? Okay. I don't really enjoy teaching Mandarin.
Okay, so we'll have to hear about your experience teaching Mandarin. Sophie did a couple different things. One is she took TOEFL to see if she could get a 120, a perfect score. She didn't, which shows me that I think in TOEFL they want you to take it a second time because she should have 120. So she got perfect on listening and reading, and her speaking, which is perfect, and her writing, which should be perfect. Yeah, but she got close to 120. Anyways, another thing that she did is there's a certificate process to become a Mandarin teacher, but I don't think there's actually any teaching involved. You just have to pass tests. And it's basically having knowledge of Chinese history or ethnic Chinese people. Chinese history, society, and culture. Yeah.
That's one.
Wasn't there 4 subjects?
5.
Oh, 5. Okay.
5 subjects altogether.
Yeah. Maybe it's 4 now because you probably took a little bit. But all I know is that she didn't pass one of the sections. She took it the next year and she got it. Yeah. So have you taught Chinese?
Yeah, okay. That's a part of my job when in the first year when I entered世新.
Really? You were teaching Chinese to who?
I was there helping as an adjunct Mandarin teacher, a full-time English teacher.
So you were teaching Chinese?
And I stayed busy the entire summer because they have a lot of work during summer breaks and winter breaks. But when school is in session, I usually find myself in the English department.
So who are you teaching Mandarin to?
We have students from Japanese university, American middle schools, and then seasonal classes on and off.
And these days at世新are over, yeah. This is a thing of the past.
Yeah, they are closing. Most of the Mandarin classes. So the center is only serving the needs of the exchange student now, but they are still running some Mandarin courses.
So there is a program for learning Mandarin.
Oh, of course. It's compulsory. Once you're here on an exchange program, I think it's regulated by MOE.
Okay. Maybe
you have to take some Mandarin courses.
We had a Mandarin course when I came here as an exchange student. But when I was actually an English department student for a year, and I didn't take any Mandarin courses. And that's always I've been kind of surprised. What's the center called that's responsible for this?
Here is called the Center for Chinese Teaching or something. Anyway, it's short for CTC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because they have a program for people wanting to get a certificate in Mandarin education, correct?
I'm not sure whether the certificate thing is involved, but there are 101 and then 102 and 103 that you can take.
101, 102, 103. And it's for beginners.
For beginners, and then a bit more advanced, but still beginners, and then intermediate.
Okay. Wow. I didn't even know they had intermediate, because what my experience was that I learned most of my Mandarin over at Shida. They have a 国语中心. They have a Mandarin training center.
Yeah.
And in the United States, universities, their basic English courses are very, very developed. And I think it'd be almost like a 2-year process to get the students level up to the level necessary to take college courses. So I had a Saudi Arabian roommate, and he had, I think, like almost 2 years. He came in pretty much not able to speak any English. And then, so once you do all those basic English courses and you satisfy the requirements, then you can start taking the regular college courses. But they don't really have that in Taiwan.
No.
And it's like there are some students from other countries, but in general, when you're talking about international students in Taiwan, it's basically ethnic Chinese people who already have that kind of, they might be having Mandarin at home or some type
True.
of, they're reading Chinese at home, maybe from Macau or Hong Kong.
Yeah.
And so even if they can't speak Mandarin all that well, they can at least read characters. To get your level up to take like courses as a regular student,
Yeah.
I think we have a Turkish student right now in our university.
Really?
I think.
But to
And Polish and yeah.
Kinga.
well,
I know.
Polish, there are some like Polish people that are really into Chinese.
I know that because like my teacher was.
Oh, Kinga, you're right. Yeah, I met her. Yeah.
Oh really?
Okay. Mm.
My teacher was in Danshui University,
Oh,
and then she took a.
is it Danshui or Danjiang?
I don't know the name.
I think it's Danjiang.
I think it's Danjiang,
I don't know.
the Tom Kang University.
There's too many universities to keep track of.
It's just TKU.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
And she took a course. It's called Old English, something like that. And it's supposed to be Old English, but they taught in Mandarin.
Oh.
So I think that's why we don't really have like good courses for international students, except for some English courses like in世新.
Yeah.
We have those like Rome and Greece and mythology and stuff, but like in TKU they teach in Mandarin, so it's bad to learn.
Yeah. They have a big problem with that. Like there's a rule for, so for example, I have a is it Trin England or something like that, or I forget what the term is, but I have classes that I'm supposed to teach all in English, but I do English and Chinese together. But I think the problem is in Taiwan, there's a lot of these scholars that go abroad, and so maybe they're reading English textbooks and things like that, but they really don't have the level to teach a whole
Please don't invite me talking about them. I don't know. I really don't know.
That is unfortunate. Now, I'm kind of, if I had to defend the teachers that are supposed to be teaching in English and are teaching in Chinese exclusively, one problem is they might be getting pressure from the students. And so students might say, hey.
If it's a introductory, then I think bilingual teaching is better. But if it's for something after intermediate, I think EMI is better. Like using English as the sole means of instruction.
Question: what is EMI?
English as English as the medium of instruction.
I was going to say mode. I'm glad you said it. Yeah. Is it medium or mode?
Medium.
How confident are you?
And I first said means. That was.
That's okay.
Yeah.
We don't have the means.
Yeah.
But I do feel that's unfortunate because I'm thinking about it. I think I could teach a class 100% in Chinese. I could do it.
I think
but
you have good Chinese.
Thanks. Not as good as Alvin's.
I am teaching a class in Chinese next semester.
Oh,
wow.
really? Bible?
Because I'm short of 2 credits this semester. They wanted me to run an AI course, and then later on, I found out I don't have enough number of people. So I have to do something to make it up to my missed credits. That'll be 2. And then I went to Yuanzhang looking for alternative positives. Guess what I'll be teaching next semester?
The Bible.
Western philosophy.
Wait,
Oh, wow.
really?
101.
But
Get
in
out the
Chinese,
beret.
And
In Chinese?
yes,
No.
because the dean told me, you have to run a course in Mandarin to make sure you have enough number of people.
But I like to be.
So I'll be teaching Western philosophy in Mandarin.
Nice.
What a challenge.
I like it.
But like, I think that when you're like talking about philosophy, I think it's better to speak in English to like.
I'll still be using my English handout. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like it's Western philosophy. It should be taught in English because like there's like lots of sayings that aren't going to be explained in Chinese.
But in defense of ancient Greeks, some of their ideas like metempsychosis is actually closer to ancient Chinese philosophy.
Wow.
But I'll still be using my English handout because I'm a lazy person. There's no way for me to find something in Mandarin.
And who reads those handouts anyways?
That's sad but true.
But so if I was to say, I can teach in English much better than Chinese. So I feel for the students that have to deal with this. They come from abroad. They believe that they're getting courses all in English, and the teachers might read English well and they might listen well, but it's really hard to communicate well in your second language. And so, and it's too bad. Like if every student was at your level, I would just 100% talk in English. But it's maybe there's no evidence, but I feel if I say something in Chinese first and then I switch to English, that they've already registered some of the things I'm saying, and then they hear the English, it helps them with understanding. I don't know if it does or not, but.
Well, my friend does ask me like, what did he say? What did he say?
Yeah.
Like,
okay.
When you talk in Chinese and English, they still like, what did he say? What did he say?
Oh no, maybe it just doesn't work at all.
But in process of education, I think the act of forcing is very important. Because before you can speak a language, you have to get used to the rhythm and tempo of it.
I think because like you talked a bit too fast for them.
That's probably a problem.
So they cannot really understand you.
You have to soak your brains in that language.
It is. So I don't think that I'm the fastest talker in the world in English.
No, but like teaching.
Yeah, it's hard. Like if I was to slow down. Okay, so if I was to talk,
and that's the reason why you're such a pleasant person to talk to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Because like I'm a fast.
Slow and steady. Okay.
But
I think that's very assuring.
But Christina says I probably talk too fast for a lot of students.
Yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah, for Taiwanese students, like with my tempo, they say that I talk too fast.
Okay.
I'm thinking like I'm talking normally, but like I think, can you speak slower? I was like, I'm slow, but like there's some understanding to have to translate in their brain. So I think I can understand that. Yeah.
It's hard because I don't want to talk forever when I know that most students aren't paying attention.
Same here.
So if I'm talking in class, let's talk about populism. A populist leader would be Donald Trump in the United States. and there's some students with some students their heads are down, other students are looking at their phones, and people are distracted, and maybe you get a couple listeners. It's like I'd almost rather just go fast, and the students who care will listen. And I've also heard that you shouldn't slow down as a native speaker because it helps the non-native speaking listeners get used to the tempo.
True.
Yeah, I don't know. Some of it is that no one reads anything before class anymore, so no one knows what's going on.
That's a sad thing.
That's I've noticed. I've had that problem before. It's like, I remember, for example, in the writing class, I gave a sample version of the test.
Yes.
And I don't think people really looked at my sample version.
I did.
Did you, or you did not?
I did.
Yeah. Did it help you?
I mean, of course it did.
But I think a lot of students probably didn't even look at it.
Yep.
And
they just questioned me, like, what am I supposed to write here?
Yeah.
This is the fact. Those who need better preparation beforehand, don't prepare.
Yeah.
And those who don't need that, come prepared. Yeah.
I'm not prepared, but like, I don't really like to listen in class, but I would like to try to listen and write things at the same time. To help me like focus and stuff. So during your class, I will listen, but then I will just write my own things, like your homeworks and stuff. I just like write in.
Sure.
And then you're like talking, and then sometimes like, oh, Super Junior is coming up. So, okay, I'm gonna listen right now.
Yeah, I was just trying to make a joke about. I always try to show old K-pop and say how it's
No,
better than new
play-
K-pop. That's one of my common jokes. It's not funny, but
You can play Subway Surfer at the background, and then they'll focus.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It helps a lot.
So to me, what's the best way to say? I guess if I talk too fast, even if I talk super slow and students aren't paying attention, my hope is that at least I plant a seed.
Yep.
And they'll go learn it someday. So we play Quizlets and we play Kahoots. And I hope that eventually they'll learn one of these. Okay, for example, both and all. Both is 2, all is 3 or more. And a lot of students in Chinese it's just do. So 我们3个人都要去, or 2 would be 我们2个都要去. And so you see Taiwanese students will write, the 2 of us, we all want to go. And it should be both.
Yep.
And so I test it in Quizlet, tested it in Kahoot, and then I'll test it again in the midterm.
Oh God.
And so maybe they don't understand what I'm saying, but I'm trying to through repetition. And it's also this idea I can bring you to water, but you have to drink it yourself, like as in horses. And so I don't know what to do. Also, maybe I cram too much in. Maybe I could just teach just a little bit. But then there's some, like, so your level is super high, Christina. And then
Not
some
really.
students,
No. I'm
well,
not
you're
that high.
You're one of the highest
Thank you.
in the
But
class. And then there's students who are really struggling. And so if I teach the lowest level, your level might go, oh my God.
That's me. Sorry.
Yeah. And so, but sometimes, like, also too, it's out there. Just go study it. All the students that I have that like go look at my exam review stuff, they do well if they take the time to actually go through it, usually. And if students have too low of a level, then there's not much you can do. Yeah.
Sometimes they just don't care. They don't care at all, because like they're not voluntary to be in this class. They're just like, oh, I'm here to be here. So I can understand their perspective, but I think it's irresponsible to be to like listen in class, to respect the teacher and stuff. And I myself, I care about grades, so that I will just study and stuff. But like some people, they just don't care about the grades and stuff, because they have a different future or different thoughts they want to do. So I think it's okay, like if some students aren't focusing on you or listening to you, just like focus on the students that are paying attention and they're trying their best to like study it and get to learn it.
I just can't afford to care because I have so many stories to go through. I think this is one upside about teaching literature. I can't stop for your both and all. Okay, I have so many chapters, so many stories to go through.
I mean, I'm on the practical side in terms of no. Is it practical English? Yeah.
I guess that's part of the reason why I'm a terrible teacher.
No, no.
We have
you
different
teach
things.
well.
You're trying to teach, the philosophical side, the cultural side. I'm trying to make sure they have English at a level where they can go out in the world and use it. And so, like, we have different things that we're trying to teach. Yeah.
But I think teaching something purely like 100% in English is also a protection for the teacher, because if you want to have, sometimes you have negation, sometimes you have. It's always a good thing especially when you're teaching literature or philosophy. But if you have to teach in Mandarin, you have all kinds of negation coming towards you, good or bad, deserving or undeserving. And that's my concern, because I'm about to teach philosophy next semester.
What do you mean by negation?
Yeah, when you are sharing an idea of your own, or you're sharing some philosopher's ideas, there are always someone in the audience says no. Or you're getting eye rolls. it's understandable, okay, because people take sides and people want to join you, okay, and have a conversation of some sorts, philosophical or not, okay. But then, if you don't teach a language which helps you to screen the deserving from the otherwise, you have all kinds of wishy-washy talks that I don't find fit in class.
So by making it English, it kind of
Yes,
people aren't willing to question.
and it's
you on
always
things
okay. And I always think that Western philosophy is more or less English friendly.
Yep.
Doesn't he think at a deep level? Yeah.
I mean, like, I find it easy to express myself in English, so I can understand some perspective during philosophy talkers. But we have our own thoughts, so that if you care about their thoughts, and then you will like start to like think that, oh, am I wrong or something? But everyone has their own unique thoughts, so you cannot control them. So same for teaching. If you want to like teach them to be better, and then they just don't, they just don't want to, and it's useless. And during one class of my courses, I think that 70% of the class don't understand your courses in English.
Oh yeah, but the thing is, so I had an interpreting teacher, Taiwanese, really good adjunct at Shida, maybe the best teacher I had there. And this is the funny thing: a lot of times the best teachers are adjuncts, and you know that adjuncts is like Gen Ren, so it's part-time teachers.
Yeah.
And Alvin slaved away as an adjunct teacher for many years, didn't he?
9 years
Jesus
as an adjunct.
Christ.
John.
Yeah.
I have so much respect for Alvin because I would have given up. Because you have two masters, you have a PhD, and so it's
2.5, something like 2.5, because okay, in the continent, okay, if you study something old, like hardcore old, like literature, they don't even have master degrees.
Really?
You can only go halfway through a PhD degree and then asking for a master substitute. So that's my 0.5.
in Europe, you said.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Anyways, yeah, this is another my professor's point at NTNU for my master's was that we really don't even understand our own language as much as we like to think. So if you listen to a podcast, if I listen to a podcast in English and I listen to it again, I'm amazed all the times about the things I've missed. His argument is like, even in your own language, you probably only comprehend 70% at best of what the other person says if you're super focused. And so students, if they don't understand what I'm saying, a lot of it's probably because I'm talking too quickly. A lot of it is they're not coming to class prepared. They also have a phone in front of them. Having a phone and trying to listen is impossible. This is why I actually like to put my phone down. I don't even want to have it here because it's already hard enough. Your mind is always wandering other places. So before cell phones, people have always had a problem of when we're communicating, I'm thinking about the next thing I want to say. I'm looking at people out there.
Yeah.
There's so many distractions. So his point is really pretty good that we, like Taiwanese people, they really underestimate how much they understand in Chinese.
True.
People, you say, what did this person just say? And this person has a different answer. Anyways, the story of Alvin's life as an adjunct teacher, it's harder to become a full-time teacher in Taiwan than to get into Hollywood. Yeah. Because a lot of actors don't even spend 9 years. Yeah. Okay, you should hear him tell a story. I would be so traumatized. Yeah, I have respect for a lot of teachers in terms of Dorinda really works super hard. I think Alice is very kind. Huang Lao Shi was like my role model growing up. You never got to meet Dr. Liu Genji. He was fantastic, like a real scholar. And then I love Sophia, fantastic secretary. But I have to say, you were what? You had something like almost 30 credits a semester. And as an adjunct, you can only teach a maximum of 2 to 3 classes at a university. And you were making sure a potential university would be on an MRT line.
Yeah.
Or be close to an MRT station.
Yes.
Because the most credits I ever taught at Shising for a semester was 14. And I was like, man, this is rough.
Yeah.
And you were doing something like 30
I
credits.
managed to keep my schedule within the range of 28 to 33.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And then like he will like ask his students about like, hey, how's your day? Like, are you doing well? And then students will come to like talk to him about their stories.
Yeah,
and stuff.
I used to be a loving teacher.
Yeah, like,
A lot loving than now.
I lay on his couch and then like just talk about my feelings, like I have trouble sleeping.
Oh.
And for distraction like phones, I cannot focus when I'm like fully focused on you. So I have to like listen to like just like at least one side of my ear to listen like music and like anything, and then I will focus on you. So and then I will remember
You
it.
need the distraction in order to.
Yep.
Wow,
And
that's
I'm easily
interesting.
distracted. So like I'm just like looking around and then, you know, but then I will just focus. Like if I'm like focusing on you, my brain just like passed out. But then if I'm like doing like something or like playing my fingers, fidgeting anything, I'll listen. Like it'll be in my brain. So
Interesting.
maybe for some students, they have their phones, maybe they can listen, but like maybe they're not.
I don't think so, but I
I
like your
don't.
argument.
I'm not arguing, I'm not
Maybe. So there, I did read this one study, and I don't know if it was a study or if it was a news article. My problem is I read lots of news articles that pretend to be studies, and you have to be careful because journalists are really good at
Yeah.
misinterpreting or kind of not really reading a study
Yes, yes.
and talking about it like they know. But the writer's argument was that eye contact from students with the teacher can be distracting to the student.
Yep.
So sometimes when the student is not looking at the teacher, they actually understand better. The problem is the students are usually looking at their phones. And there's just no study that you can show me that people do better when they're looking at their phones. I mean,
Speaking of which, look, okay, I wonder, where do your eyes usually go at lecture?
When
I always try to avoid looking directly at my students because whenever I see phones on the desk, I flip.
yeah, it hurts. It hurts your feelings. Yeah.
So I always try to avoid direct eye contact. What do you do? What do you usually do?
You know, I try to look around at students. You don't want to keep on looking at the same student because that gives students pressure. So Christina, for example, she's one of my best students. I don't want to continue to look at her, but I'll look at her more than other students.
Oh, you focus on the stater.
Like if the better students are paying attention and look like they're understanding things like that, then I can keep on going. And then like if Christina's looking bored, then it's like, okay, I gotta switch it up. So I do try to look at different students and to show that I care about them and things like that. But I don't look at them all. And I try not to. It is heartbreaking. So what students don't realize is when you play on your phone, it's like a big F you to the teacher.
Yeah, I understand.
And I don't think they understand how hard. Okay, so like if I prepare a Kahoot,
Yep.
a Kahoot, I'm still editing. So even if I used it for the first time 4 or 5 years ago, to make a Kahoot, it's probably 4 or 5 hours.
True.
And usually before I teach it again, I look at it again and edit it and putting pictures in. And so if I was to really, really teach, of course, it's 2 hours there, but it might be like 6 hours outside.
True.
And so if you prepare well and no one's paying attention or a few people are paying attention, it's like, am I wasting my life? Because for me, I'm very fascinated by things around the world. And I like to
Same
learn.
here.
And this is the thing about a teacher. So you have to have things that make you interested and passionate.
So your feelings over rational?
My
you,
feeling?
you feel more.
Irrational?
Yep.
Or is this how we're going to close?
Yeah.
Emotional? You're doing a nice job.
It's a cycle.
I understand.
Nice job.
I understand because like, for example, if you're on a date and then you're just playing on your phone the whole time, I don't feel respected.
Yeah.
Like you should just like, if you ask me out, you should have your attention on me, not on your phone. I feel hurt. I can understand you, but I cannot express my words because I have the words in my brain, but I cannot express it out of my mouth.
Yeah.
And it's actually a study that you cannot express fully well through
Yeah.
your mouth.
That's a good point. Yeah, maybe because you don't have enough time to edit yourself, and like when you write, the more you edit it, the better you probably get at being clear, and the more the time you have from when you start to when you finish. Like if you can write something over 2 days, it's probably better because you edit it from the
One
first
thing
day.
I like about your teaching is that you encourage students.
I try.
Like, you're doing great, you're doing awesome. I was like, okay, cool. And then I was like writing, and then you say you crushed it. I was like, oh, thank you. Like I like to read your little encouragements on my paper. And then one time I say
That's really sweet,
it's
Lou.
so cute. Like one time I was really upset, and then you highlighted and saying that's good. I was like, what? So I'm upset, and then you said it's good. I was like questioning my life, but then I feel respected. Like you appreciate my work, even though your handwriting is pretty
rough,
messy.
Yeah, very messy.
Yeah, but I feel appreciate that you're like looking at it.
Yeah, I have certain courses where I'll type up comments because my handwriting is really bad, and I could slow down. But I have like 63 students in that class, and I'm like, I don't have time to slow down. I am constantly in survival mode. Yeah, I have a kid and everything, and I commute.
True.
And so I wish I could slow down and write clear. But a lot of students, if I spend time writing, they might not even read them.
I do
So
read them.
But thank you, yeah. And so, or even if they can't understand what I'm saying, at least they know I read it.
Yeah.
Because like you highlight it and then say, that's good job, good vocabulary, good job. Like you crushed it. I was like, yay, I did it.
I try to mix up the comments. Sometimes I would actually like to express even more, but then I'm just writing too much, and you can only spend so much time. But at least to show that students that I'm looking at your stuff and I value. And I know there's certain students that probably don't care and don't look at it. At least if I have comments, my wife would probably disagree, but my opinion is at least they know that their teacher cares.
Yeah,
right?
I think I'm just easily pleased.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
Not really.
Different note. Okay, the survival mode is a good thing because according to Parkinson theory, not that Parkinson as in Parkinson disease, another Parkinson psychologist, people only fill up time by making it a drag, doing stuff, getting stuff done. So, okay, probably you can get something finished in 20 minutes. But when you are given or when you are aware of the fact that you have 2 hours to spend, you get it done in 2 hours. Parkinson theory.
That's nice.
Yeah. And it is the survival mode, our survival mode, to keep us away from that. Yeah.
That's tough, right? I think students don't realize also as a teacher, you are constantly dealing with your conscience. So I already graded your writing tests, almost everybody, yeah. I could grade them so fast. So it takes me about 15 minutes per student to really write all my comments and to read it carefully and read it again and things like that.
It's cute.
I could score it in 30 seconds if I didn't care about people. I'd just boom, 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 boom. And it would be accurate scoring, but I wouldn't have put my heart into it. And like, I don't want to be a teacher that just check marks.
But conscience kicks in.
The thing you have is that you have empathy, and then you care. Like you really care, like a typical American teacher.
Oh no. That's the only thing I guess we produce that's good.
A good Christian.
Even though I'm not a Christian, I'm a pagan. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I'm not a Christian.
Yeah.
What do you mean by pagan?
Well, pagan's
agnostic
I'm
or
not agnostic. I'm not a real pagan. Yeah, I'm not like burning babies on the cross.
I just believe in like the universe and stuff, like angel numbers, like 488, something like that.
Yeah.
I
didn't
no
know
idea.
you are.
That's a deeper
I
level.
thought you're a Christian.
I used to be very serious Christian.
Me too.
Yeah.
In America, I was a Christian.
That's pretty common, yeah, for ethnic Chinese. Yeah, I gave it up because I struggled with the way that Christianity deals with the non-heterosexual population.
Yep.
Because I think you can portray it however you want, but the Bible says what the Bible says. And maybe I think it's nice that there's certain churches that have tried to creatively lie and say the Bible is okay with homosexuality. But to me, the book says what the book says. And so I had to make a choice.
I want to be a person, not to be controlled by a book, like by God and anything. Like I think that us human are our own universe. So like our eyes are like galaxies and stuff, and then like our veins are like trees.
You're a
Like the
psychic.
branches. No, I'm a psycho.
Yeah, you must be from India, yeah? One of those.
Sorry.
No, it's hey, it's who knows? Maybe you're right in the end, yeah.
I can. I'm a literature person. I'm always conditioned and controlled by books. Yeah, I read my Bible
I read books as well.
in several languages, but in English alone, 26 different versions. I can still remember my songs of prayers in Latin,
Oh my god.
receiving part a Catholic training. But I've always been an agnostic. I used to be a serious, confirmed agnostic, but now I'm something like a pantheist. I believe there's a spirit or something like a chi or tai chi behind everything.
And before we end this, the real question is, do we become more spiritual towards the older we get because we know the end is coming? Or
No, of course
is it
not.
life experience?
like,
When
I
you
think-
believe there is a being behind every object, and then you show your respect, and then you make peace with nature, that's one thing. Being new age, spiritual, doing some hoodoo or voodoo, that's a different.
Like he called me old, so does that make me
You're
spiritual?
an old soul.
Yep, she is confirmed by both of us.
She reads books. Who reads books nowadays?
How do
No.
you know I'm an old soul though?
Because you read books.
Yep.
That's usually already.
He says I'm old because of my songs that I listen to, like Billy Joel's Vienna,
She listened to
Summer of
Billy Joel,
69.
Bee Gees,
Yes.
Beatles.
Frank Sinatra.
Oh yeah, Frank Sinatra is good.
Yeah.
Like it's like Christmas coming up, so you know,
yes.
have yourself a little Merry Christmas.
Get ready
Thank
for that.
you.
Yeah,
Okay, to wrap up.
that's it.
Ah,
This is episode 4.
I need to
Who
go to
knows that?
French class. Oh my god.
Are you late for class?
No, I
Oh, she hates the French class
no,
anyway.
I don't really hate it, but the way he
She
teaches
thinks it's too introductory for her.
kinda.
Yep.
See, this is another problem. What do you do, right? Some students have.
I can learn French easily, but it's that I cannot understand like why is he talking like that? Because he said I'm American, and he was like, oh, you're American.
By the way, let's thank again for 中道组长 and his crew.
谢谢中道组长跟伙伴们。
感谢你们的。
谢谢。
I hear 我听说过你不要说辛苦，这样的话就有点。感谢你们的付出。